best thing about the historical account of Job, many of us have already read to the end of the story, and we see that God blessed Job with double. And what I love about it is that Job's historical account helps us to relax when we're in the middle of the storm. It helps us to be confident in the middle of the storm. It helps us to trust God in the middle of the storm. Job's account helps us to stand still in the middle of the storm. This is so powerful for us to understand is that it doesn't matter what you're going through, God is working behind the scene. And the more you know that God is working behind the scene, no matter what you're going through, confident you can be. Sometimes to be quiet when people are coming up against us. Sometimes to just let it play itself out, because at the end of our story, when we trust God, we're going to come out with a victory. So we're going to be reading through this. We have a few chapters that we're going to read through, but I want you to read through it as if it's your life with me, like that you're going through. But the reality of it is, the fight is fixed, as Elder Krista said Sunday. You're going through, but the reality of it is, at the end of the day, you're coming out with increase. You're coming out with promotion. You're coming out with your family being more blessed than it's ever been. You're coming out, listen to me this morning, on top in Jesus' name. Let's pray, and then we're going to dive into this account. Father, we thank you. We praise you. We bless you. We honor you. What a privilege it is, what an honor it is to study your word. Your word is more wealthy than anything. Your word is more wealthy than any individual. Your word is more wealthy, oh Father God, than anything we own or possess. Lord, your word is the wealthiest place that we can visit daily in the world. Father, help us to see that every single day. Help us to realize that every single day. Help us to dive in your word in such a way, oh Father God, we understand that without your word, we would never have been able to Jesus. We would never have been able to receive the Spirit. It is the greatest asset. Help us to take advantage of your word, that in every area of our life, no matter who turned their back on us, no matter who talked down to us, no matter who, oh Father God, don't understand us, help us to go to your word to see the reflection you created us to be in Jesus' name. Amen. So let's dive into this word today. We're going to be doing a lot more reading today because we all know what's going on here, and we're just going through it just so we'll kind of get a grips of how this thing really played out. So we're going to be talking about Bildad's first of three discourses in three chapters. Job is reproved for his words. So now they're coming back up against Job because of some of the things that he said. Because Job is like, listen, y'all can say what y'all want. I haven't done anything wrong. They were trying to get him to confess of doing something wrong or his children doing something wrong. And Job's like, listen, you can say what you want. I know what I did. So he's holding on to his integrity. So it says in verse 1, we're in chapter 8. It says, then answered Bildad, the Shuhite, and said, how long wilt thou speak these things? And how long shall the words of my mouth be like a strong, the words of thy mouth be like a strong wind? And it says, doth God pervert judgment, or doth the Almighty pervert justice? If thy children have sinned against him, and he have cast them away for their transgressions, if thou wouldest seek unto God betimes, and make thy supplications to the Almighty, if thou wert pure and upright, surely he would await for thee, and make the habitation of thy righteousness prosperous. Though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end shall greatly increase. So Bildad is talking like he got God figured out, and this is very important. We should never get to a point in our walk, no matter what we see, no matter what we encounter, that we just feel we got God figured out. We should always be in a place in our life where we recognize that there are always going to be areas in our life for us to grow, to come to know him better, to come to know him deeper, to come to know him greater. And so we see here, Bildad is talking as if he knows God to the point that this is how God operates. This is the only way he operates. And so we have to be careful, even as leaders, not to grab a hold of this. So it says, for inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to search of their father. So basically, he's going to say, look at the history of God, which is, I mean, they're doing a very analytical way of determining how God is going to respond and how he's going to act. But unfortunately, their discernment in this scenario is off. And so it says in verse 9, it says, "For we are but of yesterday and know nothing, because of our days upon earth are a shadow. Shall not they teach thee and tell thee and utter words out of their heart? Can the rush grow up without myrrh? Can the flag grow without water? Whist it is yet in the greenest and not cut down. It withereth before any other herb. So are the paths of all that forget God, and the hypocrite's hope shall perish. Whose hope shall be cut off, and whose trust shall be a spider's web? He shall lean upon his house, but it shall not stand. He shall hold it fast, but it shall not endure. He is green before the sun, and his branch shooteth forth in his garden. His roots are wrapped about the heap, and seeth the place of stones. If he destroy him from his place, then it shall deny him, saying, I have not seen thee. Behold, this is the joy of his way, and out of the earth shall others grow. Behold, God will not cast away a perfect man, neither will he help the evil doer. Now, this is very powerful because Job starts off by saying that Job was a perfect man. And what that's talking about is he was a mature man. And so his friend is saying, God will not cast away a perfect man, neither will he help the evil doer. So it goes on to say, verse 21, it says, Till he fill thy mouth with laughing and thy lips with rejoicing. They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame, and the dwelling place of the wicked shall come to naught. So basically, his friend is going on and telling him, listen, you are a hypocrite. You need to just confess your sin and go to the Almighty, and God will restore you, etc. And Job is like, listen, you don't know what you're talking about. Let's look at chapter 9. So this is Job's reply to Bildad. Job, it says he's unable to answer how a man can be just with God. So he says, Then Job answered and said, I know it is so of a truth, but how should man be just with God? If he will contend with him, he cannot answer him one of 1,000. He is wise in heart and mighty in strength, who have hardened himself against him and have prospered, which removeth the mountains and they know not, which overturneth them in his anger, which shaketh the earth out of her place, and the pillars thereof tremble, which commandeth the sun, and it riseth not, and sealeth up the stars, which alone spreadeth out the heavens, and treadeth upon the ways of the sea, which maketh Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades in the chambers of the south, which doeth great things past finding out, yea, and wonders without number. Lo, he goeth by me, and I see him not. He passeth on also, but I perceive him not. Behold, he taketh away, who can hinder him? Who will say unto him, What doest thou? If God will not withdraw his anger, the proud helper do stoop under him. How much less shall I answer him and choose out my words to reason with him, whom though I were righteous, yet would I not answer, but I would make supplications to my judge. So Job is unanswered to God, but will yet pray to him. So basically, uh, he's releasing God's 20-fold power here. And it's very powerful because Job is dialecting with his friends and saying, I hear you all, but listen, let's look at it from this perspective. And I want you to know that from my heart, I'm going to pray to him, but he's the only one that could justify. So it says here in the Dake's Bible, says that Job is confused and doubtful of answered prayer. So look at this. He says, if I had called and he had answered me, yet would I not believe that he had hearkened unto my voice. For he breaketh me with the tempest and multiplieth my wounds without cause. He will not suffer me to take my breath, but filleth me with bitterness. So now Job is accusing God for his miserable plight. So this is the same way that Jeremiah said, he said to the Father, he said, you tricked me, you got me out here, and it seemed like, wait a minute, these people are against me everywhere I turn. So this is Job's sixfold complaint of injustice and helplessness. He said, if I speak of strength, lo, he is strong. And if of judgment, who shall set me a time to plead? If I justify myself, mine own mouth shall condemn me. If I say I am perfect, it shall also prove me perverse. Though I were perfect, yet would I not know my soul. I would despise my life. This sounds like almost Paul the Apostle telling them, who's boasting? I'm not boasting, etc. I'm above all the other apostles. I'm a chief apostles, but still I'm nothing, etc. So this is very powerful discourse. It said Job accuses God of being merciful and in league with the wicked. So it says, this is one thing, therefore I said it. He destroyed the perfect and the wicked. If if the scourge slay suddenly, he will laugh at the trial of the innocent. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Now my days are swifter than a post. They flee away. They see no good. They are passed away as the swift shifts, as the eagle that hasteth to the prey. If I say, I will, I will forget my complaint. I will leave off my heaviness and comfort myself. I am afraid of all my sorrow. I know that thou wilt not hold me innocent. If I be wicked, why then labor I in vain? If I wash myself with snow water and make my hands never to so clean, yet shalt thou plunge me in the ditch, and mine own clothes shall abhor me. So Job 12-fold complaint and accusation of God we see here. So the Dake's Bible reveals 5 facts about man's day. They are swifter than a runner. They flee away. They see no good. They pass like swift shifts. They fly as an eagle to his prey. Verse 33 says, for he is not a man as I am, that I should answer him, and we should come together in judgment. Neither is there any day's man betwixt us that might lay his hand upon us both. Let him take his rod away from me, and let not his fear terrify me. Then would I speak and not fear him, but it is not so with me. So Job is saying, I've come to a place of just, he's trying to express himself to the best of his ability. So it says in the Bede's Bible, it says, covering the faces of judges. This accuses God of causing the judges to become confused and blind, so they would be partial, unjust, and always making decisions to further their own profit. He says here, the ancients believed that snow water possessed particular virtue for the cleansing and whitening of the skin, and that it contracted the fibers to prevent uh, things. An old fable speaks of the black man washing his body in snow water to make it white. Muhammad prayed, Lord, wash me from my sins white with water, snow, and ice. It seems that Job's accusations of God were becoming worse. Here he went so far as to accuse God of intentions to cast him into a ditch, even though he made himself ever so clean. So this is very powerful, because we see Job is revealing that he's just a man. Although he's mature, he loves God, but he's revealing, listen, this thing that has come upon me is the greatest trial that I've ever encountered. And he's really revealing a lot of his weaknesses in this trial. So chapter 10, let's look at it together. Here's Job. Job is in bitterness, accuses God of injustice, oppression, and being in league with the wicked. So it says, my soul is weary of my life. I will leave my complaint upon myself. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say unto God, do not condemn me. Show me wherefore thou contendest with me. It is good unto thee that thou shouldest oppress, that thou shouldest despise the work of thine hands, and shine upon the counsel of the wicked. Hast thou eyes of flesh, or seest thou as man seeth? Are thy days as the days of man? Are thy years as man years? That thou inquiredest after mine iniquity, and searchest after my sin. Thou knowest that I am not wicked, and there is none that can deliver out of thine hand. Thine hands have made me and fashioned me together round about, yet thou dost destroy me. So here Job is going to pray to God for help, yet accuses God of increasing his wrath upon him. So let's look at this. It says in verse 9, it says, remember I beseech thee that thou hast made me as the clay, and wilt thou bring me into dust again? Hast thou not poured me out as milk, and curded me like cheese? Thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh, and hast fenced me with bones and sinews. Thou hast granted me life and favor, and thy visitation have preserved my spirit. And these things hast thou hid in thine heart. I know that this is with thee. If I sin, then thou markest me, and thou wilt not acquit me from my iniquity. If I be wicked, woe unto me, and if I be righteous, yet will I not lift up my head. I am full of confusion. Therefore, see thou mine affliction. So Job is just going through. He's like, look, I don't know what to think, how to think, where to think. And it says in verse 16, for it increaseth, thou huntest me as a fierce lion, and again thou showest thyself marvelous upon me. Thou renewest thy witness against me, and increasest thine indignation upon me. Changes and war are against me. Wherefore then hast thou brought me forth out of the womb? Oh, that I have given up the ghost and no eye had seen me. So Job is saying, listen, I'm going through so much. It was best that I didn't even come into this world. So it says in verse 19, I should have been as though I had not been. I should have been carried from womb to the grave. Are not my days few? Cease then and let me alone, that I may take comfort a little. So basically, it's saying, just take my life. I want to take comfort. It says, before I go, whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death, a land of darkness, as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death, without any order, and where the light is as darkness. I'm telling you today that this one of the things listen to me, people of God, I love about the Word of God is because it always shows us someone that is going through much more than we can ever comprehend going through. Although we have our scars, we have our battles, we have our trials, we have our tests, we have the things that we're facing. The reality of it is for Job to lose 10 children in one day, his entire business, his wife told him to curse God and die. All of these things, boils on his body. Couldn't even get a night's sleep. Visions of darkness, dreams of darkness. He was going through absolutely hell on earth. The reality of it is, we get to lean his life so that we can know it doesn't matter what we face or what we go through. If God be for us, who can be against us? Let me pray with you today. Father, I'm praying for those individuals who are tuned in today. I'm thanking you for their life and for them, even as we read through the book of Job. I'm thanking you that they would realize that it doesn't matter what they face, what they have to go through, as long as they're in your hand, everything is going to work out for their good. They're going to be able to thrive. They're going to be able to stand. They're going to be able to move forward and see the goodness of the Lord in the land. Father, I pray by the Spirit of the living God that you will strengthen anyone that is going through trials, tests, anyone that is going through any storm right now. Strengthen them by the power of the Spirit. Help them to know that they're in your hand. Help them to know that they're covered by you. Help them to know that you're there, even though they might not sense it. Even when we can't trace you, we thank you, Lord, that we know that your spirit has been joined with our spirit.